Yo, what's going on? It is your boy Skiiwalker the Jedi here. Back with the return of OG Talk with my main man Will Rowlands. This is a monumental moment for the return of my OG Talk series, which is kind of like where a lot of you guys first found my channel from. And it is such an honor to be able to bring that back with the one and only Will Rowlands. Will, we see you in the car, yo. What's up?
Yeah.
How's everything going, bro?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing? I feel like one of those like on the out in the field reporters, you know. But like I say, I know you wanted to be on the show, and I wanted to be on, but I'm so busy at the moment. I'm just everywhere at the moment. I'm just here, there, and everywhere. So I've got about an hour and a bit drive left today. So I figured, let's try this. So,
right.
Fingers crossed the signal holds out.
For sure. And I'm glad that you just squeezed me in, homie. Like for real. That's like super dope. And I won't waste too much of your time, right? So let's get started. It's been a while since you've been on the platform, and there's been a lot that has kind of happened, I'm sure, with yourself, both personally and professionally. So like you want to let the people know like what's been up with you since we last spoke.
Well, do you remember what the date was when we last
spoke?
Oh
my God. Hold on one second. I just had it up. I don't want to it was
it was stuff they've heard before.
Yes. It was early July, right? Around July 10th.
What year?
Last year, 2022. Yeah.
Last year, not 21.
No, 2022.
Okay. Feels like longer ago, doesn't it? Mind you, these last few years have been a bit mental with COVID. You don't know I don't even know what day it is half the time.
Right.
Oh God. I mean, I think when I spoke to you last, I'd recently had an operation, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Did I mention that? Yeah, yeah. Well, I finally, as of 3 weeks ago, I'm now allowed in the gym to have 18 months of no exercise, which has not been good because the camera adds £10. Which is fine if reality hasn't added more than £10 because you're not allowed to do fuck all. I've had my fourth surgery in my spine. I had one from my neck, so normally I wouldn't listen to the doctors, but I didn't want to risk being paralysed. But yeah, so personally, that's what I'm looking forward to getting back into some exercise now, but we'll see. Slowly but surely. I don't want to like ruin the work done. But so yeah, that was that. I've done loads of things, but a lot of things I can't talk about.
Oh yeah, them NDAs, right?
Yeah. So if I don't, I'll try and answer as much as possible what I've done without saying too much, without being wrong, if that makes sense. Because I'm crap at it. I'm forever accidentally saying something and then getting told off. Soon it'll be I'll have to work for free so that I pay them back for every time I've said the wrong thing, or just get fired. So what have I done since last July? Shit. I think when I spoke last time, hadn't I been over in May to LA? And then I was in June.
Yes. You had just gotten back from your LA trip. Yes.
That was it. Right, I remember now. And I saw Koj, didn't I, when I was out there?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, personally, other than working, some bits I've done. I took a month-long road trip with my dad.
Oh man,
across America. He's he's obviously older than me, obviously, but he's had some ill health things, and he's got a bucket list, shall we say, that he wants to tick off before it's too late, because he's not well. And so we had like 4 weeks, I think. It was supposed to be a shared road trip, but I drove every single millimetre of the journey, and he just sat there like some king. So, but that was fine.
That's dope, though.
I don't particularly. It's scary enough in the car with him in case he has a heart attack while he's driving. You know, I'd be in the passenger seat. Don't die there. But driving on the wrong side of the road deliberately would be scary. Be in the car with him. So I was quite happy to do the driving. We did 5,426 miles in 4 weeks. I say we. I drove, obviously. But it was pretty cool. We went all over the place. But it was good because I showed him where I've worked when I've been over there, at the studios and things, and I got him to be able to look around where I worked. We done the touristy stuff for him. I introduced him to the Dodgers because I always go and watch the Dodgers anytime I'm in LA.
Oh man.
I don't really understand the game, if I'm honest with you. It's like but I just know when they whack it and no one catches it, it's a good thing.
You're right. Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
But I love the atmosphere there. I don't know what it is. I love the stadium. It's just, I love it. Apart from the price of it all, it takes the piss. It don't matter how rich you are, you shouldn't be happy to pay $28 for a hot dog, some fries, and a Coke.
Hey,
just saying.
Them Dodger dogs are crazy, yo. Them Dodger dogs, oh man. You gotta have
one. It's like the law, isn't it? You gotta have one. So
yeah, for sure.
I used the to go over there, but whilst out, I met up with some people. I got him to meet a director friend of mine, and we drove from LA to Texas so we could see the JFK thing that he hadn't seen before. We met out there, and we also met up with a friend of mine who's an actor, Matthew Marsden. So I hadn't seen him for ages.
That's dope.
Meet him. So yeah, we done a bit of like, I just basically showed him around really, and yeah, we went to Vegas. Obviously, got to do that as well. And he did bet $1 though, tight kid. But we had a good time. So yeah, so mostly that's what I've done, and then obviously Christmas with the family and things, and yeah, so personally that's really it. Other than working, but I go from like not working for 2 months and then suddenly I don't have a day off and I'm doing this driving around because like today was I've been super busy this week. I was up writing, shall we say, there was a deadline, and 2 days in a row, the first day, and I knew something had to be done this week. I got up at 8:30 in the morning, sat at my computer, started typing, and then at 10 the next morning, I thought I should go and have a sleep.
Just maybe, right?
Writing. And then I had about 3 hours sleep, and then got up, and I carried on, and I finally finished at 5 o'clock the next morning. So I had 3 days almost solid this week. But I sent it off, and I read it back to myself yesterday, and I've done so many spelling mistakes. And you can tell, even though it's the app's supposed to check that. I don't know, but I had to get it done, and it had to be in. But no one's come back and said, "Will, you can't spell." So yeah, I don't know. But and then I've had. I'm just knackered.
Maybe they're word spellings.
Yeah, so I today it was to catch up with the kids, so picked them up and we've all been out and stuff. So and now I'm heading back to where I'm staying up by Pinewood Studios in London, and that's why I'm heading back there, and then I'm working again tomorrow. So yeah, I've been busy but not busy, but just I don't know, normal me stuff. Yeah. Work-wise, the one thing I didn't sign an NDA for, I think. I don't remember signing an NDA. I was asked to go back for season 7 of Britain's Most Evil Killers. I'm always a murderer for some reason, or a bad. So, I don't know.
You have a very villainy face. You have a very villainy face, Will. A very villainous face.
Like one of those fat mafia dons.
You like your name should be. It's like Tony the Bruiser.
Because I'm a nice guy. I mean, I'm quite nice to people, to be honest with you. I wouldn't actually hurt anyone unless I had to, but yeah, but I don't care. I've because I did season 5 of it. I did season 5 of it a couple of years ago, and then they wanted me back for an episode, and I've done an episode the other week, and it comes out in summertime on Sky TV. But I might be going back for more, but it's not a film, it's a TV show, documentary thing about murderers, real life crime. So that one, whenever I do that, I don't ever seem to do an NDA, I think. I don't know, I sign everything, see you there.
Right.
But no, it's a crime, and I'm a baddie. I mean, what's there not to know? The programme's called Britain's Most Evil Killers.
Right.
Make of it as you will. But the other things I'm doing, I can't really. Yeah.
Hey, it's all good, Joe. We all know how that works. It's just dope. And I'm grateful for you giving us like a peek into your life and your schedule and what that looks like, because a lot of people don't know what it's like really being an actor. And so just, having that little peek behind the curtain, I'm sure that the people are very grateful for.
It's definitely not like as fun as you think it might be. Like I prefer the making of it all rather than the doing it, if that makes sense. The doing it is kind of making it, but the after bit, I rarely watch myself again. I don't really want to watch it, because I'm going to be critical and think, you're shit, what are you doing? So it's better for me just to do it and then forget about it. But it's a lot. Like the things I'm doing now, producing a film and something else. So I'm doing both a bit. Hence why I've been so much. It's different. Whereas learning lines and finding out what it's about and then just practicing at home on your own and stuff, it's different when you're doing more of the other stuff with it, if that makes sense. So, but it's cool. It's more interesting. I find it a bit more interesting, to be honest with you. So yeah. But the trouble is, it's going to be like a year or two before you can actually know what it is, if it gets anywhere, and if it pans out. Because some things I've spent a year and a half on something once, and it's kind of stalled, and that's because of COVID. And I keep getting told we're waiting for updates, and it's like, well, come soon. It's going to be pointless. It's going to be like totally irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's true. But just for your viewers, anyone who's been to London will know of the M25 car park. That's like it's the motorway or the freeway or the interstate highway, what you guys call it. It's basically a circle around London called the M25. Normally, we call it the car park because it's just car crashes and traffic noise.
Right.
At the moment, we're gliding, so this is pretty good.
At the moment.
I'm just about to go past Heathrow Airport, and they fly over the motorway, and I think that's why people crash, because they go,
ooh, right.
So, aeroplane. They forget to look, that way. So, yeah. That's my live update from the M25 in London.
Yeah, for sure, yo. And thank you for that update as well. I'm pretty sure that our London viewers will enjoy that later. Look, let's get into the first topic though.
Yeah, go.
One big thing, Will, that you've been kind of talking about on social media that has come up since we last spoke is you saw the Ayer cut, man. Like, that was like a monumental thing for us, like, to learn that you actually saw that movie and you watched it in David Ayer's his trailer or something. Like that's crazy, Will. Like one, how that feel and just like how that whole thing come about, yo.
David asked. Well, David was over here filming his new film called The Beekeeper, and I was there. So he asked if I wanted to see his cut on his laptop. So
And you obviously said no, right?
I went, what? Why would I want to watch that shit? Don't be stupid. And then I'll go on then. God, if you insist.
Right. If you
so
insist.
yeah, I can't. I'm not. One thing I have to be clear on is I'm not. I do have an NDA for my time on that set. Why I was there, what I was doing, and all that, and anything to do. So I can't tell you anything about the Beekeeper movie other than it looks pretty cool. And it will be cool. It's David Ayer film, isn't it?
For sure. The
thing that I know I can talk about because he told me is I can talk about his Ayer cut. But long story really short, for a build up to it, he asked if I wanted to see it, and and then we talked back and forward, and his PA and all that. We had reason to talk. And then it turned out that the time we were going to be together was on that set, so that was my chance. So obviously, because obviously there's other people around, like it was bizarre because there I am talking with Jason Statham and about his lines, and then David went, "Hey Will, do you want to watch it now? Because like." You don't need to be here for now, and I was like, oh yeah, no, okay. So I went off to his trailer, and the first thing I thought was, I don't get a trailer like this. I get shit. I get like I might as well be a Portaloo. His trailer was like a house, like it was nice, but. I did give his business partner and producer is Chris Long, who he owns Cedar Park, their production company. I gave Chris my mobile. I said, look, I don't want my mobile, just in case I get accused of, filming it, because I wouldn't do that, but just to keep, he's allowed to show it privately to friends and associates and whatever. Same as like when Zach showed Jason Momoa the Snyder Cut, right. But he obviously can't distribute it, so yeah. He hasn't done anything wrong with me seeing it. So that's to be clear. I've missed my turn in, what a knob. We're just gonna be round all night. That's fine, I've got loads of film. So anyway, I was in there. I think it was 2 hours and 25 minutes long, the film. And I sat on the sofa. He got a sofa. Kitchen. I'm not jealous, but I get a chair and a table and a mirror. Do you know what I mean? I'm that important.
Will, you sound a little salty, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want that trailer, I'm just assuming that there was an administrator and there was a mix-up. Because that's the kind of trailer I need, isn't it? I'm not being funny. It was cool. I mean, it was bizarre. I was sitting there thinking, I'm in his trailer. Like, yeah, like that had to be surreal. And his stuff's there. His stuff is there, and it's like, and I'm just on the sofa with his laptop. And I just laid back on the chair. I put my feet up, and I watched it. And I was glued to it. It was. Oh, it man. Was. That's dope. When I say it's superior to the theatrical cut, I'm not just saying it to make it sound more fun and get people to want it. It's superior to that what you saw in the cinema. If you remember, or the theatre you guys got it. I remember going to see it because I thought the trailers looked wicked. Remember that? It was like
Harley Quinn hanging in the thing, and it's dark, and there's that music.
That Comic-Con trailer.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be dark. This is gonna be mean. And then you go, yeah, and then you go to the theatre, and it's all bright colours, and it's all scatty, and it's like choppy, and you're like, huh? It's like, do you remember? It was like, oh, okay, maybe it's supposed to be zany because it's a bit mental, right? And then you think, well, that's good. That did nothing like the trailer, was it? But you know, it's yeah, at the time, you like everyone did with Justice League, you believe the studio saying film by, don't you? So anyway, so I'm watching this film, right, and there is nothing like, in any way, shape or form, the tone of it is nothing, and the edit, most importantly, is nothing like the theatrical cut. There's no like poster with "this is Deadshot" and all this stuff. There's none of that crap. It's like a movie. It plays out and it builds up the character arcs. You get introduced to them, you see them in their lives, and they chat and talk. And like, I know, you know, the old-fashioned way of watching it and learning, rather than being told what it is. Because that's the thing that put me off most in the theatrical, was this, like, you remember it's like little, like trump cards, weren't they, on the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Chopped back and forward. There was none of that. I mean, the opening scene is more focused on June in the jungle, finding, you know, the little things. The, you know, she's hunting for that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It was in June, it was in October. October last year it was. So that, it's within the first 20 minutes of that film, there was more character development than the entire theatrical cut. Like, each character had a nice introduction, and they were like real characters. You know, I think David said afterwards there was 45 minutes of footage in his cut that no one's ever seen. 45 minutes of what I watched was, even if it looked similar, was reshot by someone else. So it was. So when you watch the Ayer cut, at least 45 minutes of scenes that you're looking at in dialogue is different. And that is a massive chunk when you think of character development and the story arcs that he wanted to portray. And it really was darker, more sinister.
We saw what just 30 minutes did with BBS, right? With the Ultimate Edition versus the theatrical. And that wasn't even like reshot footage and all that, right? So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that this movie has to be night and day different than what we got in the theater.
Oh, mate. I mean, Cara Delevingne, I mean, if you thought she was rubbish in the theatrical cut, the poor girl, she deserves a lot of credit, because she was so much better as June, and even her character arc as June, and the character arc of the Enchantress and her relationship with Flag is so much more like fleshed out and more meaningful. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got a more, it's just more important than and it's more relevant to the story. I'm trying to do it in logical order, because since I've seen it, I absolutely refuse to watch the theatrical cut, because I don't want to taint my memory. I don't want to. No, wrong. I don't want to taint my memory. So when someone says, "Oh, did this happen?" I'm like, "Oh, did it?" And I don't want to go and watch and go, "Oh, I weren't in there," because then I've ruined the. What if I never get to see it again? You know, what if? So yeah, I'm really, I do not want to watch it again unless it's the actual cut. So I'm literally going off of memory. And if you can imagine, I watched it 2 hours 24, 2 hours 25. I can't remember the exact time. I might have tweeted it at the time on an account. But it was like information overload. Like, you're like, whoa, you know, like when you're like, oh my God. It's one of those films you'd watch and go, fuck me, wow. And you'd want to watch it again just to absorb what you saw and anything you might have missed or something. So, but obviously, I gave the laptop back and then carried on doing whatever. And we sat and had a cup of coffee and talked about it on the set. And I'll tell you when we get later on. how that conversation went with him, and it's pretty sad. But the film itself, I mean, see, part of me doesn't want to say too much because, like, spoiler alert, do you know what I mean? But, like, Scott Eastwood, for example, when you saw him play in Suicide Squad theatrical, he was kind of a pointless character, wasn't he?
Pointless.
Like, oh, he's got a small part. Clint Eastwood's son's got a small part. No, he's a relevant part of the story, and he has quite an important role. You know, he's a member of the Suicide Squad, should we say? You know, and let me think. Will Smith and his daughter. There's more, and that's everything about every character that you know, or from what you've seen. There's more to it. There's more to them. It's more.
Even Slipknot will.
Oh, even him. Even like in the theatrical, like, there he is. He's dead, isn't it? And you're like, where'd he go? You know, but he's actually, there's more. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still got a smaller part because obviously he died. We all know this, but there's just more momentum, more build up, and it flows so much nicer. There's not the guy selling the Superman t-shirts. That is not in the film at all. Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, Batman, he's in it much more. And it is linked to Batman v Superman because it obviously BVS finishes it with him at the funeral saying he's going to find others like her. Yeah. So obviously his relationship with Waller is obviously more detailed than we see because he's still trying to search for other people, isn't it? And you know, and he's trying to work out who he can and can't work with. And obviously probably won't want to work with Suicide Squad, will he? 'Cause how bad it is. But there is that dynamic. You know. So like where Bruce is trying to find people like him to, because what's coming, because of what happened, you know, in that, you know, Snyder version, but as a result of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, the government are obviously looking at metahumans now, and hence the Suicide Squad side of things. You know, it's kind of like Bruce is doing it on a privately, and the government are doing it officially. But obviously, government being the government, they're gonna treat people like shit and get the baddies, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So when people say, "Oh, it's not connected," it is connected. It is in the canon, shall we say?
Yes.
Albeit it is its own film and it's its own story. But so when you see in the theatrical, when you got the guys standing out before you see Waller in the restaurant with those general guys, you know, and like there's a guy selling "Remember," you know, with Superman shirt on. That is a forced link to almost tell the audience, "Oh, this is supposed to be here. This is how it was supposed to look." It's part of the fraud that's continuing. It's the deception that you're to watch it in the theatre and assume that everything you're seeing is still part of the original plan. And that's what I got from that. Now I know that it's definitely not in there. That is 100% the reason it was put there. I mean, why else would they film that little scene? It's to make you think it's connected. Like in Shazam 1, when he's throwing the cyborg and the Batman, and they got the Batarang.
Yes.
That's to make you think it's connected. You know, it's that loose connection to distract you. Other than the main Suicide Squad story, and obviously I am driving, by the way. I've got two hands on the wheel.
Oh no, it's all
other than
good.
the main, like, the premise of I'm trying to word it without saying the wrong words. I don't want to spoil her. You know the Enchantress storyline with her brother? That's still the story, but that's the theatrical cut focused on that only, didn't it? Whereas
yes, it is.
within the Suicide Squad, there is internal stories being played out. There is another journey. I'm trying not to.
Oh man, this is crazy.
Right, okay, fast forward it. I'm not going to talk too much in detail of the film because I don't want to ruin it. And I don't want to misremember and it be wrong and then give someone the wrong. I don't want to give you false hope of what I remember seeing because it was a lot to take in. Other than you just knew, I was sitting there and I'm going, whoa, oh wow, oh this is better. Like, and I'd watched it thinking, fuck me, it nearly finished. And it's only half hour. I'm only watching half hour. It's like it felt like so much. You were getting more for your money, you know. There's no music in it. As in songs. Like music songs you could buy. It sounds
there was a lot of songs in there, yo.
Yeah, there's none. There's none in the Ayer cut. There's none. There's an actual. It's a score. So there's a soundtrack. There's not songs put in. So again, and then you see that they released the soundtrack album. Do you remember that? The Suicide Squad soundtrack album, all the songs. So again, not because he had. Oh, hello, we're back. Hurrah!
Okay, there we go.
Bear with me.
We're all good.
And stop, just in case. So no, okay. There's a soundtrack, yeah. It's a score, and it gives it more emotion, and also the graphics, even the Warner Brother logo, all of that. It's not bright. It's got color, but it's dark. It's gritty. It's what you thought on the Comic-Con trailer. Yeah, it's just not like, so, and yeah, another thing, like in the theatrical, Enchantress is like this.
Yeah.
It looked like, why is she doing that? It's a bit over the top. No, it's not, because when you see the Ayer cut with the actual graphics and the CG work and what she's doing and why, you're like, it looks better. It looks better. It's not as off-putting because otherwise it just looked like some weird dance, didn't it?
It did.
A bit too much movement for what it was, but you'll see. I would say that the cut itself, the edit from beginning to end is done in order. It's ready. That's the cut. The soundtrack is done. That's the cut. But there are one or two in the third act, a few, and I mean a few, CG polishing. Like, that Marvel released the Hulk thing.
Yes.
When it looked cut. There's the main bit of that is the helicopter crash scene. That needs finishing. And a little tweak, I would say, of the final battle scene with the dance thing. But even unfinished, it looks about 1 million times better what she's doing.
Oh my God.
Hang on. Ambulance. It was the feds. So I'm not going to talk too much more detail on that film because I don't want to misremember or say the wrong things. But it is superior. Like, you feel like a story has occurred and that each character by the end of the film has come into their own and they've had a meaningful impact on you. Yeah, it's more graphic, it's darker, it's more violent, I think is probably the better way. But there are some really deep. So after I've watched it, obviously I've gone back and there's the laptop. Thank you very much. And I remember David was on set and he's looking at his screen from something they'd just done. They was doing some stunt bits, and he was just watching a playback, and in his like director's area, he had like a couple of little like armchair things, and I got back, and he saw I'd come back. He stopped what he was doing, and he looked at me, and he genuinely looked like he was nervous of what I thought about the film. It was really quite sad when you think about it, because he was worried what I would think of his film, and that's probably because he's had so much criticism from it, hasn't he? And been attacked for it, which is really not fair, because he put like a lot of effort. You can tell he put a lot of effort into making this, and he was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, as soon as I went, like I think I said like, "Wow," like that, superior. And he had the biggest smile on his face. He looked relieved and happy that someone else had seen it and said it's superior. And I said, "What the fuck did they do?" And he was like, "Thank you." Do you know what I mean? It was like a relief, a validation in a way from another person outside of his inner circle to say, "Yeah, my God, that was better." And then we sat down and we talked for about half an hour about what happened. And that's when he told me, like, obviously what happened. But he did not know. He submitted that what I watched was submitted to be complete, have the bits finished on it, and to be released. He thought that was what was being released. They did a secret second edit and secret other things that he was not aware of. And when it was released, he said it was the worst time of his career, because that's not his film. And and as a result, any negativity that came from the theatrical cut and any criticisms that he took, obviously, it's been hard on him, because it's unfair. It's unfair criticism, and there is I would say, equal to the main story of the film. There's an equally as important story arc in the film that he wanted to show for his, and he told me it was for his daughters to show that it can happen, and it's a message for women and girls. He wanted to highlight an issue for women and girls. He said, but I'm accused of sexualizing, the whole Harley Quinn. He wasn't. When you see the film, and I do believe you will see it, the bit I was talking about with him was like, fuck, like shit. That's, my God, that's really not good, is it? It's like, and he was like, yeah, but he wanted to show that situations can change for women. He was pro woman, like pro like relationship struggles, should we say, like from the woman's point of view of being in a very horrible relationship. And ironically, if you think about Margot Robbie, obviously we're talking about Joker and Harley. If you think of Margot Robbie when she made her film, she called it the emancipation, didn't she, of Harley Quinn? And when you think about it, she'd finished with him. And I can only imagine that film was, when she wrote that film, she was using the mindset of what should have happened in Suicide Squad. So, do you know what I mean? So, but, yeah. And I'm going to park because I need to concentrate and tell you this, because it's and anyone who says Jared Leto was not a good Joker and there wasn't enough of him, you're absolutely right. There wasn't enough of him because they cut most of it out. It's like the studio didn't want Joker to be as important to the story, and I think that's because his story and Harley's story was almost as equally important to the story as the main story, the main, drama that was occurring in the world. But he was really scary. He like oh Jesus, this guy really is mental. Like he is a dangerous person to look at. Like he was completely and utterly like deranged, and the way it was acted, you can believe the stories about people being scared of him on set, because it's it was brutal. Brutal is not the word, but it's the best word I could think of, but it doesn't do it justice. He didn't care. He did not care who he hurt. He doesn't care, and that comes across in the performance where you're like, fuck me, this guy is like, he's crazy. He's completely crazy, and it's not forced. It's like, shit, Jared Leto's mad. Like he's a killer. He's a psychopath, but it's not. He's just such a good actor. It's really different, and that's something that I think when anyone did watch the theatrical cut was like, you felt there should have been more Joker, and there was something missing, because there was something missing, because they took all of his scenes out, and some of the scenes you've seen, well, I say some, most of the scenes you have seen that are in the film, if it's a 10-minute scene, you've seen a minute of it. It's like the scenes have been shortened down.
Oh my God.
But like, to make them less meaningful and impactful, I guess. I don't know why. Like, it's like when BVS, it's like the studio wanted to self-sabotage themselves so that the people causing the problems can go, right, look, that told you they were shit, let's do my film. And we all know who, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Jeff Johns. Someone wanted their job. It's, do you know what I mean? It's like, am I turning right here? Let's have a little look here. Sorry, I got a bit lost.
No problem.
Oh, I'm back here. Oh, well. Yeah, so when, for me, like, the film ends.
Oh my God. Wait, we got freezing going on. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. Will's a little frozen. Wait for him to get back. Right. All right. Hopefully you'll get Will back in a second. There you go. All right.
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh yeah, all good. We gonna roll with it. You know what I'm saying?
I've parked, and now we should be good for the rest of the time. The ending is they changed the ending, absolutely, because the ending it just ends abrupt. Something happens and it ends, and you're like, fuck, and you think, oh my God, shit. But they changed the ending so that you didn't think that, because they took a big story out of it. So basically, what I'm saying is, it was a deliberate fuck around, and yeah, they didn't tell David they were doing it, which is pretty fucking naughty, isn't it?
That's crazy. He found out like what, like right before the release of the movie, or like that has to be crazy. That has to be insane.
Well, he didn't specify exactly when,
other than he didn't know they'd done it. So I can only assume that he watched the film and thought, huh? But obviously I can't say for definite that's the case, because he said, I didn't know they did it. I didn't know they did a second, and other people who he works with said no, he was absolutely, gutted. He was, devastated by it, because he made this really good film. But but I feel that lately he's getting more annoyed that it's not coming out. But so now going back to how, one of the things, I wasn't going to tell people that I had seen it, because it was going to be released on an account, a fan account that I created, and I had some admins on. But a few people that I'm friends with kind of knew that I'd done the account and stuff, and I did it. I did it with this express rule to avoid the crap that happened with the RT Snyder Cut account. Just I didn't want none of this division-y stuff where people would go, oh yeah, don't follow them because that person's part of it, or they support that person. It was just literally supposed to be it's just a thing about release the haircut, and that's the end of it, I originally created it and got it going so that anyone who wanted to use it for clout or focus on this film now for clout because of what happened with Snyder Cut kind of was didn't get a chance to do it. I was doing it to protect the idea of the campaigning for it, if that makes sense. But
absolutely,
after I'd seen it, and because there was a tweet on the account where I put, I've just seen the Ayer cut, and then David retweeted it, didn't he, and said facts or something like that. I can't remember what it was. We sat next to each other and we did the tweets together on the set, and he wants people to know that there is his cut and he wants it seen, but at the same time he is very respectful of the studio because it's what they are. You look at his career, he's a former naval submariner and stuff, and he's come into this, and
absolutely
he's he is a decent, disciplined, respectful guy, so that's why he's different to other directors, and that's cool. He's a nice guy, but you can tell he's genuinely, he's very, I would say he's a very deep person. Like the way when you see him working, the way he goes, the way he focuses and goes quiet and watches and does his thing, he's very dedicated, focused to it. So it's not it's his Zack Snyder. He's like, yeah, guys, that's it. He's a bit more the other way. But so I think the professional persona of what he puts out, and you see he's very supportive of everybody, but at the same time, you can tell he's very hurt by it and sad by it. Because I'm not going to say everything he said, but the gist of it is that a lot of criticisms he got weren't his, but he took it on the chin as his, and he said he even apologized for things that he ain't done. Just it's you found that offensive? Oh, sorry, it wasn't meant to, but it wasn't even his. Do you know what I mean? And if people had seen what I had seen, you would go, oh, that's why he showed that, and that's why the story was going that way, because there's a reason for it. So it's hard to say, but he generally, and he wants people to keep asking for it. He wants people to keep, back then as well, he wants the demand to keep being here because he wants it out. Obviously, he wants it to be seen. I think he needs it to be seen for his own, peace, I guess.
I mean, imagine. Yeah, if I was him, I would want my work put out there. Absolutely.
It annoys me when people say, "Oh, the director's cut of of Suicide Squad. Well, hang on a minute. It's
No.
not a director's cut. It's the cut. It's called. He called it to me. It's called it the mature cut, and that's the cut. He says the mature cut because it's the one that he pieced together as the one, like the what he wanted, and it's it's not like a cut. It's the mature. It's the cut. It's the suicide. It's David Ayer's Suicide Squad, literally, and they Justice Leagued it. I mean, a director's cut would be like they happily put a film out. The director happily put a film out of a film, and then later on went, "Oh, I wish I'd added that scene that we cut out. I wish we had added that bit scene." I actually, when I decided not to include that bit, I wish I'd put it in. That's a director's cut.
Yeah.
When a studio chops it up, that's not a director's cut. That's a studio cut. And then even a director's cut. So that's kind of still kind of a director's cut. But when they do what they did to BVS, Justice League, and Suicide Squad, that is like how I really believe that the reason Zack had some power to really ask for the Snyder Cut was because they advertised it as film by Zack Snyder, story by Zack Snyder. Remember that? Directed Snyder. Now that's technically a lie, because if 80% of the film was directed by Joss Whedon, it was actually a Joss Whedon movie by rights on the American. Was it Directors Guild of America?
Yes.
If there's a certain percent that you make, it's yours. So by putting your name on it, it gave him the right to say, well, hang on, it's my film. And with David Ayer, the implication again was that was his film, and that was his story, and that was his edit, and that's what he submitted. And it wasn't. Like he said recently, didn't he? The people they gave his cut to were a commercial editing company, which is why it was like
that cuts trailers, right?
Yeah, cuts trailers. That's the one. Sorry, yeah. So it was. I actually that day I remember it was surreal, because I was driving back home thinking, wow, I got to see that today. Fuck. And I was thinking about it. Like, you're going over my head, like what I'd seen, but then having the conversation afterwards about what I thought of it and how he felt affected by what had all happened, even though he does, professional, polite, and he does, toes the line, with in a company. He doesn't, because I think that's his military background. It's the disciplined, and
absolutely
just wanted to make his film. But I was actually quite sad for him, because I thought that was really, like, you see in someone's eyes when it means something to them, and he was one of his friends who works with him all the time, Owen. He was there, and he stood, what did you think? And when I was saying that, his friend was looking at him going, almost like confirmation, look, it's not just us telling you as your friends. Like, this guy you've let, who isn't like, they don't all live together and work together all the time. Someone else that's kind of on the outside is saying the same things that his friends and family are saying. It's that confirmation that maybe I did make something that was good. Do you know what I mean? It's really hard, and he's a really he deserves. He's been so badly treated. I think it's terrible. Because it is the same scenario as the whole BVS, Justice League, Suicide Squad, and thinking about it, they did it with Wonder Woman too, didn't they? Because Zack got the award for writing Wonder Woman, but we all know he filmed. It wasn't World War One. Remember the picture with the heads? He wanted it to be, but they interfered, and they compromised and went along with it. So you can tell that it's always been a chop, and I don't know. But the bonkers thing is, right? The bonkers thing is, like with Zack Snyder's Justice League, the the money-wise, on a business sense, if you had a product that, if you were selling an inferior product and you're not making money and you're going, I don't understand. Why are we not making any money, guys? I don't know. People are stupid. What about that better product over there? Nah, there's no point even trying that, is there? Fucking try it. Look what happened with Justice League, innit? Phenomenon. Abdi called it. How much? And they won't release the figures, will they? How much money did it make on DVD and Blu-ray sales? I don't know.
We have no
What are the
idea.
figures? It's got to be at least the same as BVS, and that was like pretty impressive if I remember. It's like 100 million when it was some more. You know, and that's profit, pure profit almost. You know, so it doesn't. Doing the same for Suicide Squad. Now, I think there was an important meeting. I was told there. I said, "Is it coming out? Is it? What's the chances of it?" And all they could tell me was, "There is hope." And I went, "What do you mean hope?" And it was like, "Hope, like yes, hope." So something is brewing, for sure, definitely. But I think the spanner in the works was DC Studios being created, because now it's like, I think they could have course corrected and reverted back towards Snyderverse with the deviation that they were going on with Wonder Woman 84 and Shazam and that. But I think now it's created a situation where it's the best you're going to get is it's Elseworlds. But egotistically wise, the person in charge, does he really want the Elseworlds to be more popular and successful than his world?
That's a good question, Will.
You know,
that's it. That's the $1 million question.
When I was working on Doctor Strange 2, on the set, I saw a Gotham City police truck. Multiverse of Madness. And I remember saying, I know. Yeah.
Wait. Did you just say there was a Gotham City prop on the set of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
Yep. But when I saw the movie, because I wanted to see if it was in it, it weren't there. I don't know what's going on. Now, I asked the assistant director, because obviously I was doing some stunt driving in it, and in the New York street by the Sanctum and all that, where there was the alien attack or whatever it was. But we did about 5 different versions of different worlds, and I know I've diverted onto that now, but it's relevant because the film was called Multiverse of Madness, but I think in reality you saw about 3 or 4 reality multiverses, didn't you? Or universes. Yeah. I know multiple was filmed and they must have just whittled it down. But I remember seeing it thinking, because it was a SWAT truck type thing, and I've seen it, and I said to the director, not Sam Raimi, I didn't ask him, but when we were doing some scenes for stunt drive, and the assistant director was kind of in charge that day, and I said, why is there a Gotham City police like van? And I said, is this like a multiverse crossover thing? And he went, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know what you're talking about? No, it's Gotham City. And he smirked and went, and I don't know whether he thought, oh shit, yeah, that's a point, we better get rid of that, or he didn't want to tell me something. And he brushed it off and went, oh, that's probably just we borrowed it from the Batman set. And I was like, well, no, because that's at Warner Brothers, because I was on that. And I was in the Batman movie, and that's Warner Brothers, and that was at Leavesden or up north, not in Longcross Studios in Surrey or Berkshire, where it was in England, because most of them filmed here, by the way, even though it was in New York. Now, the reason I mention it is because if you look at what's the recent news now, where it's talking about James Gunn and maybe doing a DC Marvel crossover, has there been people in the background slowly trying to plant these little things in? you know. But I saw it on the set, and it was being driven around as part of the choreography of the stunt driving we were doing for the, you know, disaster. So that's why I bring that up. It's very bizarre. It's very like, sounds like conspiracy theory, doesn't it? But it was there. It was there. It bothered me so much that I asked, because I thought, like, because obviously I don't know. Is no one else noticing this thing, or am I out?
Like, is it just me?
But don't get me wrong. I might like do like work in that kind of thing, in that industry, and do stuff. But I'm still a fan. I still like going to the cinema. I still like watching things. So I'm like, fuck me, look, that's that. Oh, that's that. Things I don't know, because it's compartmentalized. You know, on these big productions, you don't get told everything. You get your bit. You learn your bit, and you only get told enough about your bit that's relevant for that bit of the story, and that's fair enough, because then it helps with keeping, you know, the NDAs nice and tight. So I'm like, is that, you know, and I never got a kind of proper answer other than, oh, we probably just borrowed it as a prop. But I thought the detail that then the amount of money it goes into, they would at least covered up the, you know, the doors say, you know, Gotham.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's bizarre, but that isn't in the film. So, but there are many other scenes that were filmed that aren't in there. So, and that's normal, you know, the cutting room floor and all that. But I just wonder. I wonder if the idea of crossover has been pushed and pushed and pushed for some time now, and now they're restarting completely with this new James Gunn world. They're actually they're like talking. They're now openly talking about it. So it's just very. It confuses me. Like you think of a business and like demand and that, you know, shops will stop selling a product if it's not doing well, wouldn't they? And they'll bring out the better one, or what the one customers keep asking for. But it seems to be it's head scratching. If we're all saying, look, I don't want to pay for that, but my God, here's my bank card, take whatever you want. I want that and that and that. You know, we're not even saying we want that, but don't overcharge. People are saying, I want that. And I think you look at this Full Circle event, was it 3 minutes sold out?
Sold out, man.
And the tickets are $150 a day. Cinema's what, $15 for a film? And that was sold out. Do you see the gap of the money? They must look at it and go, fuck, we could really charge a lot for this. Ka-ching. Because if they don't care about the quality, they must care about the money. So yeah, I've gone all over the place, and I'm tired.
It's all good, yo. Hey, I'm loving this.
The point being is that the idea it was supposed to be anonymous, put out there, just so that everybody knows that it's been seen, it exists, it's a real thing, it's definitely better. But obviously my name got leaked a bit, and I kind of didn't acknowledge it for a while. And then it was like, I thought I may as well talk about it, because there was a bit of a lull in it. So I wanted to spark it a bit more to say, look, I have seen it. It is a thing. Come on. People, my name's floating around now. People saying, ask Will, he's seen it. And you're like, mate, why? How did you know? Yeah, and that led to other things. So I try and run that account as a bot, if that makes sense, like without any.
Yeah.
I don't care. There are people who follow that account. The account follows people that I personally don't get on with, but it's not about me. The person that Ayer account, I never want it, and I won't let it have any personal in it as much as possible, because it's got one sole purpose, and that's to keep this demand growing. You know, because we managed to wear them down with the last film, so we'll wear them down in this one, maybe. And it will cost a lot less than $70 million to finish, because it's finished. It's just. I mean, I don't know how much it costs to do the graphics, but
little tweaks, right?
They're pretty. I mean, don't get me. There's 2 or 3 scenes where you're like, "Fuck me, that really needs doing," but then other scenes, it's like it's half done, you know. And there's like a bit there that's like a bit funny, or the ear looks funny, and it's like, oh, hang on, the rest looks perfect. It's very minor, but more so towards the end.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry, I just rattling on there, all right, but yeah. So the point being, it's supposed to be top secret, but it's not. But I don't want people who may not like me or that may not like people that I know, or like may not like you, or may not like that person, or this person hates that person, and blah 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 blah. I want to keep that out of the Ayer cut account thing, so that people can just focus on just tweeting it and doing it for David, because he wants it to be, you know, he wants it done his way, doesn't he? You know, and that's fair enough. But he obviously wants it, and he's been more vocal lately, hasn't he? Especially since he's finished production of Beekeeper, I've noticed, because that's now in post-production now, isn't it? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think now he's got more stress off his plate. He's able to now revert back to this, and that's why, like I say, he's been very vocal this last week with people. But, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been a year, mate. I tell you, it's.
Yo, I'm actually glad that he's been a lot more vocal now about his cut, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I think that the more that he kind of talks about it, the more that it galvanizes people to keep pushing forward, right? And kind of moving forward a little bit. That's one of the reasons why when this whole hashtag sale movement kind of came up, we realized that, you know, the Ayer cut is still part of this conversation, like it always has been, it always will be, right? And so that was specifically like why we created that second hashtag, was for stuff like the Ayer cut, because we absolutely realize that that thing is just as important to us as Zack Snyder's Justice League was, right? We need that. It's already shot. There is no reason for that thing to not get put out. And you know, it is very imperative to this movement and for the entire, like, the Zack Snyder fan base too. Like, this movie is a part of our DNA, and we do need this very, very badly. And so any kind of conversation that is revolving like the Snyderverse and the DC art or the DCEU from that time period will always have the Ayer cut in that conversation, and it is 100% a part of our mission statement to get that thing out as well.
If you remember that they couldn't have a press conference for any movie they had without the question of Zack Snyder's Justice League coming up. They could not avoid it, and sadly, they're not going to avoid it still, because people are, like you say, the Ayer cut is still outstanding, and that was part of, you know, the canon of the Snyderverse, and people know that it wasn't what they thought they paid to see. So, and now people want that, and it's kind of like unfinished business, isn't it? I mean, people are willing to move on. I mean, I personally, obviously the Snyderverse story arc is what I invested my as a fan, like, care about. You know, I actually cared about what was going. I wanted to know where the story was going, how it was going to come along, you know, I was drawn into it. It hooked me in, and I liked this particular take of it. But that's not to say that prior to Man of Steel that I didn't like any DC film, right, or things. It was just, it is what it is. I've been from a young boy, you know, watching Superman and things, and Batman and
89 Batman Returns, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a little boy, I used to, every night it was on telly, like, at a certain time, I think. Well, it is in the morning, like 6 a.m. in the morning. You turn the telly on one of the channels, we had 3 channels then, and it was the Adam West Batman. I had to watch it before I went to school, and it was like, looking back on it now, it's very camp, it's very, pow, 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 you know, pow, bosh, bosh. It's silly. However, it was at the time how they had foresaw a comic book square being portrayed in live action. So it was literally a comic book reality, you know, and that was comic book movies. And then you look at, obviously, the Batman did really well in the 80s and 90s, obviously, because that was a bit more realistic than the Adam West. You know, the comic book from page to screen started to evolve, but I think it kind of peaked a bit, and like the things like the Daredevil and that, it kind of reverted slightly, didn't it? And then people kind of people just disregarded comic book films as it's stupid. Oh, what, they go wear tights, and you know, that kind of attitude towards comic book films was kind of like, oh yes, yeah, I might watch it. Only comic book fans would bother. The general audience were like, oh, silly comic book hero stuff. You know, they wouldn't get invested in it or give it a chance. And then obviously the Christopher Nolan Batman films made it, oh, hang on. And then people talked about it, and then the general audience gave it a go. And then obviously the early Marvel films with Iron Man. You know, Iron Man, the first one, is much, much more Snyderverse-y than Marvel in some respects, because it was actually a serious thing about a rich guy trying to do something for real, and you know, it was kind of grounded in a way to a real world. But now it's just everyone's got the hat and everyone's got this, and it's all the same thing, and now it's for the sake of it. You know, do you know what I mean? It's the quality again, and the Marvel universe seems to have done what 30 years of comic book TV and film done, where it evolved and then devolved, and then it kind of dropped off because people thought it was silly. People stopped taking it seriously. And I feel like that's what's happened with the Marvel films. And don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong, I'm a DC fan more than anything. But I was invested early days in Marvel as a fan of, you know, if there's no films out and the Marvel film comes out, I'd happily go and watch it because it was pretty good. You know, it was different, but you got to accept Marvel and DC are different, so there is going to be a difference. So you went to watch Marvel just for, I don't know, for entertainment purposes rather than having an emotional attachment to something, if that makes sense, you know, or it's less relatable than DC, I think, Marvel, which sounds bizarre when you talk about superheroes, but then when I got bored of it early on, like midway through, because Thanos never seemed to come. He was coming. He's coming. Like, how long does this guy take? That floaty chair in space, like, when's he coming? And then he finally came. I think, God, you know, and that was the pinnacle, wasn't it? You know, Infinity War Endgame. That was I think Infinity War was the best. But after that, it's devolved like the films did. I feel now that like the Marvels devolved to where the Ben Affleck's Daredevil kind of quality went. Yeah. And I think that's dropped the thing. And where the Snyderverse, I think, as canon, has now made that's this thing that we're all invested in. It's like the last grasp of where it's evolved into something relatable that the general audience can relate to and actually compare it alongside a normal film about something serious or something with consequences, you know? So the sad thing is that there's this mindset that it's got to be colourful and less quality, and then they get James Gunn because they think, oh, he done that for them, and it's like, you don't learn from Justice League, and it's going to, and don't get me wrong, it's going to go down, and people are seeing that. But where we have this Snyderverse canon outstanding, and we've all invested in it, this is, I'd say, I'm talking as a fan, we're all hanging on to that. So right now, we're all going, do you know what? I'm not interested in getting invested in something new, James Gunn. Especially as you've got rid of Henry, and now you want a younger Superman. You want a younger Superman, but you'll happily keep the people you had in the Suicide Squad, like his wife and that. Like, how he's either going to cut it off completely and start again, or is he nitpicking? And if he's nitpicking of who's in it now and who isn't, then is it a reboot, or is it just a continuation of what they've done since Aquaman? And it's devolved, and I think people aren't going to give it the chance. Maybe he'll make something good, like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. I went and saw it because I thought it's a Marvel film, it might be good, but I was pleasantly surprised with the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. I thought actually that was quite good. It was different, and so you gave it a chance after that. So when in terms of sell the Snyderverse, I think it's important. I mean, will it be Netflix? Will it not be Netflix? I don't think it matters where to. I think Netflix is ideal because that's where Zach is, and they seem to be a bit more on the ball about money. But like they need to, in order for DC Studios, I think, to actually get people engaged and want it, not just the young people who go, oh, I want to be told a joke every 5 minutes, because you get them people, don't you? And he's great, and like they don't care about personal lives, and they just see Marvel. I think some people want this because they're like they're DC fans, but they crave the success that Marvel had. So say I'm a DC fan. They wanted that. People focus on the wrong thing rather than the product. So what I'm saying is the only way this is going away is to show it. Because people are going, but I spent hundreds of pounds and hundreds of dollars on this, and now, like, you want me to start again? Like, can you imagine? Like, you decorate your house, and then suddenly your wife said, "Oh, what are you doing? We've sold it." And you're like, "What? I've just finished. I've got one room left. I've got one room left. Can we not finish the room? Can I not live in this house and enjoy it for a while?" It's frustrating, isn't it?
That's great.
So I think the Snyderverse idea, if the studio ain't going to do it, then sell it. It is possible because, was it like Smallville is on the CW, wasn't it? The Flash CW. It is licensable because it's only characters. I mean, they're still going to make the money, aren't they? They've done it with Joker, and they're doing it still with Joker, aren't they? Because that's Elseworlds. So it's quids in, and my logic is if they gave it to us and said, do you know what, Zach, finish that story. Let's finish it. Whether we go and then it can exist in its own entity in an Elseworld, floating around in some multiverse over there, and they can do whatever the fuck they can do whatever the fuck they want in future, can't they? And we all know that there is a multiverse somewhere where what we like exists, and it was finished. I know how it begins and ends, and everyone's happy. And I bet your life that people are going, I've seen what I wanted to see now. I've got nothing to watch other than rewatching that. Well, that's coming out. Let's have a look. And people will give it a chance. Whether it's going to be as good or not, it don't matter. But once they've bought that ticket, you can't get refunded at a theatre. Unless something don't work in the theatre, or you're treated rude and the seat's dirty or something, you know. You buy that ticket, that's it. It's in the bag. You know, they've got a bum on a seat. That's a box office taken. Yeah,
gotcha.
You don't even have to like it. But people aren't sitting down because they think, well, why would I bother? And like Shazam, the second Shazam, it's bombed because people have gone, why bother? Like, why bother? We know the first one had the headless Superman. They threw in the toys and make you think it was connected and might be still connected. Yeah, and poor David Sandberg, he's just he does. The guy's a nice guy. He's good at his job, but he's just, you know, it was a waste of time, wasn't it? Because people don't know. So like the Flash film, the only saving grace in the Flash, from my point of view. So I'm rambling now. When I see the trailer. If it weren't for everything beforehand, I'd go, that could be quite fun to watch. That looks quite interesting. Forget the CG quality. Maybe you'd like to think that they're going to finish it for when they release a film, but they're desperate to get some advert out and they've not finished it. But that I would accept if it's set in another reality. You know, like our Barry
has gone into that reality and fucked it up, and the film's set in the other reality, and then our Barry comes back to the Snyderverse, in which case this Flash movie can do what it likes. You know? If it's Kara and she fights Zod and that doesn't mean it didn't happen in Man of Steel, because Barry went into that one and fucked up. So the Flash film, it can be like the crossover movie of the versions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So when people go, oh, you know, look, the fucking hell, Supergirl and she's fighting Zod, they've rewrote Man of Steel. Not really, because I think it's in another universe.
Yeah.
The quality,
from what I've heard, it is.
yeah, it's not saying Man of Steel didn't happen. It's saying Barry's gone into that universe. So, and in that universe, it was Kara and not Clark, or for whatever reason it is. And then when Zod does come, it's her, and that's the consequences of it. So he's fucked up their world by doing something in Snyder Cut. So it is I think the Flash film is possible, and that's probably why Ben Affleck is in it, because he's here.
And Will, he's been talking like, like he enjoyed his time on set. He literally said that that's some of the best shit he's done as Batman, and that he hopes that they keep the soul of what they shot there. Like, he literally seems like he's all in on this Flash movie.
Yeah. So I think this Flash movie, they say they're trying to reboot it, or they probably were trying to reboot it, but at the same time leaving Snyderverse in existence, rather than doing what James Gunn's doing and going, from now on, I want a new Superman, because that's a complete reboot. So the Flash film in itself, in a way, I don't want to say this because I think, because I'm probably being manipulated even so, but if it's well received, potentially, and only if potentially, the film story where Barry returns to the Snyderverse, our Barry, and leaves that Barry there, as long as our Barry comes home, he hasn't changed ours. Whatever happened. You know, the Armada's still coming, but he's fixed that reality. So it is potentially. So as long as it doesn't disrespect the Snyderverse to the point where it's no longer fixable and he can't go back. Let's face it, if in the Flash film he can't fix his mistake, then it's a no ending, is there? It's going to be a shit film. So what I'm getting at is that the studio have got a great opportunity to give everyone both, and then we'll leave them alone. James Gunn can do what he likes. They can start again, and if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If people like it, they see it. If they don't, they won't. But you've got to give the customer the product. You know, it's almost feels like, and I know it sounds really over the top, but like, can you imagine you're in a relationship that's going on really well, you're growing, you're planning to get married, bang, she dies in a car accident, and you never knew what life you would have had with her, but you have a time machine, you can go back and stop her, but someone says, no, I'm not going to let you use the time machine. You're never going to give up. You're always going to wonder, even if you go on and be with someone else, like, and have another life, you're always going to wonder. You're always going to think, but what was that better? I was really invested in that one, you know?
Yeah.
So again, like the house thing. So it's human nature. I mean, they've got the opportunity to make money. And this is what I don't understand. It has to be ego related. It has to be ego to say, oh, well, you know, I'm now the new DC guy. This is what it's going to be on, you know, and going back to David Ayer, he's never gonna say he's bad. He's professional. He's polite. He's disciplined, and you know he's respectful of other people's work. Because if he isn't, how can we expect anyone to care how they disrespected his work? You know, so the fact that he's not going out and slagging off everybody and saying James Gunn this, James Gunn that, he's not saying support them. He's not saying don't support them, is he? But he wants his cut out. So it's a very stupid situation. But I tweeted the other day, and the reason the Ayer cut is possible, and the reason selling the Snyderverse is possible, right, is that the two people who really supported the Snyderverse and really wanted it to carry on
before they made DC Studios was it Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi? Yeah,
Yeah.
they are the CEOs of Warner Brothers Pictures. Now, what is a picture? Movie. Yeah, don't matter if it's comic book. It's a movie. It's part of the Warner Brother catalog. Yeah, they own it. So the fact that they think that and they wanted it, there's nothing stopping them talking to Zaslav and anyone else who's actually in charge, saying, look, as a company, we need to be successful. We need that new branch you wanted to do, DC Studios, to be successful. But we also have a customer base who's constantly nagging at us and doing that. Under the Warner Brother Pictures angle, like you look at Zack Snyder, when Superman at the beginning, it says a Warner Brother Pictures presentation, and I know there wasn't a thingy about them, but it's in the back catalogue. It's already made. So you can already continue it, can't you? You're like the Joker. It's a different studio. It's Warner Brothers and something. So it is a possible thing to sell it and continue. So why aren't they? Or are they? Because I keep getting told there is hope. Keep putting it out there. You know, and if you remember back when Zach was doing it, he was more overtly saying it in his posts, wasn't he? Every time there was a lull, he posted something and it boofed back up again. They know what's going on, and there is movement behind the scenes. And I actually, based on things I've been told and what I kind of know, and my own opinion, is that it doesn't end with James Gunn. There's a pay scale above him, and some. You know, there are shareholders. There's the CEO. There's equal level executives, but then the Warner Brothers Pictures umbrella owns the back catalogue of the Warner Brothers studio, don't they? So
yeah,
it can be its own entity and separate at the same time. So there's no reason why it can't be released. The Ayer cut released as a Warner Brothers Pictures back catalogue. Yeah, like they've done with Snyder Cut. There's no reason, and on that basis, there's no reason why you can't sell the IP to to Netflix or Universal or anywhere
or whoever.
You go.
Amazon, it don't matter. As long as this thing gets sold and gets made, that is all that is important to us. Mm-hmm. It just makes the most sense for it to go to Netflix, right? That's why this whole thing was coming.
Yeah. Can you imagine, right? They do it. They sell it. It gets made. There's 2 more movies. That's the 5-story arc, wrapped up, done and dusted, nicely done. Off they go. You know, everyone lives happily ever after. The story's complete. Everyone's satisfied. They then do their films, and 5 years later, they write a film and they reintroduce that universe and then bring it back in. And they can overlap continuously, like Smallville and The Flash. You know, one of the multiverses was we went back to Smallville, didn't you? And see Tom Welling.
Yeah.
You know, you can have all of it intertwined, and they kind of was ahead of the game on the TV series side of things for that. So it is possible. So anyone who says, oh, it's not going to happen, we were told there wasn't a Snyder Cut. We were told, move on. You were told, it ain't ever going to happen. They're never going to do it. It's impossible. It don't exist. All those things, do you remember? But
yeah,
all the same things are being said again and again and again. It's like no one ever learns from history. So
hey, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, Will.
Presuming I don't die young, in my lifetime, I am 99.9999999% certain at some point the Ayer cut will be released in some way.
Oh my God, yeah.
And so will Zach finish his cut? Because look at his shirt the other day. The time is now. Oh
yeah. We about to get into that. You know what? We about to get into full circle. Yeah, look, hold on. Now that you kind of shifted the conversation there, let's go ahead and get into this last topic, Will, right? Zach in full circle, yo. This is going to be a monumental weekend. I've been saying this in the past couple of days. I think that this has the potential to be the biggest weekend in the history of the Zack Snyder fandom. This is going to be a monumental weekend, and I'm looking forward to it, right? So I wanted to get your take on the whole full circle thing, the announcement stream, the Dark Side video, right? The tickets, like, just your whole take on this full circle thing.
Yep, go on. Yep. Well, for a while, I went to the first SnyderCon, as you know, probably, and that was a milestone in everything. That really got people going, and it was good, and it helped, and it was nice. And I think as well then it showed Snyder family and those involved that they really do have real backers. There's not bots. There's real people turn up, and I think that empowered them to keep dropping hints afterwards, because he wanted hints there. He wrote 214 on a poster. I asked him and said, is it, and does it exist? Is it coming? And what's happening? Because no one asked for some reason in the Q&As. And he literally said, like, it's there, it's ready, it's I can release it, but I don't own it. I own it's my film, but I cannot distribute it. So it's down to the studio, and it was like hint, and everyone kept going. It kept going and going and going, and then for years now, like when the battle was won, that's when the talk of SnyderCon 2 came up. But a certain group, no, there's not going to be a SnyderCon 2. No, it was kind of like it was frowned upon to talk about, wasn't it? And then it started coming up again. And I remember sometime last year there was talk about it, and a few people said, yeah, there will be, but we're not talking about it. We'll talk about it next year. And it was kind of like, I remember it coming up, and then it was like it didn't kind of take off with people's interest. And that's my first thought of, the gatekeeping's still in force, because obviously, the way the Snyder fandom was butchered as soon as that film came out, or completely when it came out. It was like a political propaganda, the hashtag Us United, because it was like the opposite of what the reality was, but it was a show of face to them, so I always knew that when there is a SnyderCon 2, they are not going to want anyone and everyone to be able to go, because people might say things or ask questions or say, and they will have to, there's a certain group of people who are angelic, will have to act very polite in front of certain people and worry about what those people are going to say in earshot of other people, and ruin and upset the narrative that's been created on other people in the fandom. So when the way it was done, and I think Zach like I said before, it feels indebted to certain people misguidedly, because there's a lot of other people who did more that he if he's going to be indebted to, that he should be indebted to these people, not me. I don't care about me. I don't need to be indebted to. I don't need anything, But there are people who would make their life to be thanked by him. There's things they've done who've got no interest at all in anything in the film industry, other than being a fan. But when I started hearing it's coming, and then there was that Dark Side video, it wasn't, you could tell it wasn't made by Zach. It wasn't, the quality wasn't there. And I think the Nerd Queens made it. And Ray Porter I think he feels sorry. I think he's friends or feels no. I won't know tomorrow. I know some stuff on that, but he's a very nice guy, and if he gets asked to do something, he'll do it. And he will. He done it for me in Project Comic Con. He done the first time you ever heard him set talk as Darkseid before the film came out.
I remember
he's a
that.
nice guy.
I remember that.
He's helpful. I've still got it on my computer. The actual file he sent me.
Release the Snyder Cut.
I remember he was worried to do it because he didn't know whether he should make it obvious he was Darkseid. But I said to him, Zach's outed you on Vero anyway, so everyone knows it's you. And he went, oh, okay. So he did it without saying it. So anyway, that was that. So he's a good guy, Ray. But Ray obviously helped them make it. And then you're like, okay, so it's obviously been planned and it's coming, but they're keeping the info very, 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 very tight knit. Why?
Yeah.
And that was again another little red flag. Thinking, oh, here we go. Not everyone's welcome to this, I don't think, or certain people don't want everyone welcome. And then what was next? Oh, then it was the did Nerd Queens do oh fuck, did they do a podcast about it? Oh yeah, Zach was on it, wasn't it? When the moderator chat thing happens.
Oh yeah, no, that was with Zach. That was the full circle. That was the full circle announcement stream with AFSP people on the panel. Absolutely.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. So that happens, and I'm like, okay, he's letting them organise it. But I'm thinking to myself, if you're blocked by these people because they don't like you, and only they are making these announcements, how are all the other fans who are equally as important, because all fans are as equal as each other, going to know about it in good time to make preparations, plans? Because you can bet your life before anything's announced, those people have already booked their flights. They already knew they had tickets. They already knew when it was, what time it was. They could book their flights better and get a better cheap flight because they booked more in advance, book their hotels, work out whether they can or cannot be there, what role they could play, whether they could be there and report it as a podcast or do this and do that, how it could benefit them in some way before the plebs in the world, the rest of us, as fans, could even know about it. And so it was like, okay. And then Zach was kind of like, you can tell that I think he wants all the fans to be welcome. But I don't think he fully grasps, I don't know how, but unless he promotes something himself first, that's the only way, or someone official like his wife or Wesley or anyone like that does it on their behalf before any fan group. And if it was the other way around, if it was you that having Zach on and you announcing it, there are people that don't like you that have blocked you would not know.
Absolutely.
It's got to be from the source, and then it can filter through to the podcasts and that and go into more detail. But that way it makes it fair for everybody. Otherwise, it's not #UsUnited, is it? It's just not. So that happened. Obviously, there was the outrage and all the stuff with moderators and donations and all that kind of stuff, and that's been talked to death. So I'm not going to get into that. But that happened, and then a couple of days ago, there's been nothing, is there? We know the dates, and then the tickets were going to go on sale, weren't they? And they see, I'm supposed to be in Miami for some things, and then going work-wise for something, and I saw I can't go. Shit, how typical is that? That weekend I'm going to be in Miami, and I got to be there. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to try and get a ticket because fuck am I not going? And then people thinking, Will didn't come. Oh, he didn't come. He didn't really have something else to do. He just didn't come. He didn't want to come. He was too scared to see everybody. He didn't want to be seen and look. Be what I can only imagine. This is what I'm saying. Imagine, or just ha. These people who we don't want to be there and
aren't right. Man and a boo boo.
Yep.
Right.
Fuck it. So I've rearranged my plans so that I can be there for the first one, the Man of Steel. And I have to get on the midnight flight from LAX back to Miami because I cannot not be there because of, stuff. But I'm going to fucking be there for the first one. Just because, one, I want to be there. Two, why not? I would have gone all of them. But three, and most importantly, the first SnyderCon, it's the first time I got to meet people who I'm friends with online and on podcasts like you, where I actually will get to meet these people, and that was been the best thing throughout all of this Snyder Cut stuff. Is that actually I've got friends that I know and meet, and I you know, and like for example, when I was back over last year, caught up with KJ, you know, because we friends and we've met up a few times. It's created real friendships, and it's the only time that we're all going to be together, like mostly, you know. So I'm looking forward to going to see you guys more than the actual event itself necessarily, although I am looking forward to it, and because it's, you know, it is part of film history, these SnyderCons.
Oh yeah.
So as a result of that, I thought, no, I can't just fly in for one day and then fly out that night. So I've changed my plans again. I'm going out on the 26th now. I've changed my plans big time so that I've got a day or two before, so I can catch up with everybody and, you know, have time to spend with these people we talk to online and that, and people that have not, some people have, like, Jeff Purdy, for example. I've talked to Jeff personally for years now. He's one of the people I would consider a friend in this whole fandom, but we've never met in person. Like, how has it not occurred? I couldn't go to Project Comic-Con because of work, so I had to do the organising and then just fucking monitor it and hope those guys did on the day. So I missed out then. So there's people I'm going to meet, like Hamad. Like Hamad's a really great guy. We've talked loads of times over the year. We text each other often. We've never met in person. So they're all going. So I'm like, I have to change my plans to go there early. So now I'm going, like I said, 26. So I've got a day or two to spend time with people that I've become friends with, you know, and then go to the thing and then go, right, I don't know what time it finishes, but I've got to get back to the airport and go and then enjoy the rest of the time. So, but when I went on the tickets, I didn't, I think this is how I got my ticket. I didn't select 3. I wasn't wasting no time. I said 1, go. Not like 2 and hopefully give one to someone. It was like, I'm not going to be greedy. Everyone's going to be getting one. So at Man of Steel, click buy, and Apple Pay, click, and it worked straight away. And I'm thank fuck for that, because then you hear the horror stories of people going, oh no, shit, it didn't work. It's in my basket, and then one was out of stock, and I couldn't redo it. My Apple Pay delayed, and all that. And you know, you can't blame anyone for that, because the demand was, there was a limited, there's a limited amount of seats going on sale at the exact same time, and it is first come first serve, and the internet crashes, doesn't it, as we found out tonight. But I did notice I was logged on 1 minute before, and I refreshed. So it's the second they went on sale, I went buy, right? But the second they went on sale, there was 187 tickets available, but the venue's 214. So are those? What happened to that? What's them 30 tickets? Who's got those 30 tickets? Were they on sale, or are they reserved? Is that easier? I mean, is that? Do you know what I mean? And then you think, well, hang on a minute. Certain people haven't gone, yay, I got a ticket. But they say they're going to be there, and they said they were going to. But I think Dave Pena said, "Oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be covering it." Hey, the tickets ain't gone on sale yet. So he knew he was going. So the point being is that I'm certain, unfairly, obviously you got to reserve seats for Zach, the people that are the guests and that. But in terms of fans, has it been fair? Has it been fair? Like, is it us united or not? It's no fan should be seen higher than another. It's wrong. You know, unless you're part of the actual people, which they're not. They're just fans. So that's a concern I've got about the fairness of who did or didn't get a ticket, you know. And I only posted a picture that I got mine, so just so certain people knew that I'm going. But also to see, and lots of people posted that they got a ticket or they didn't. But it was very interesting to see those people who you will know, who will be there, have not commented on whether they got a ticket or not, because they already knew. And that's I think is morally wrong, isn't it? It's wrong. And then the t-shirt thing this week, right? I only knew because I have more than one account, as you know, because I have an Ayer account. So no one gets really blocked on that. So I happened to see his shirts going on sale. I'm like, fuck. So brilliant. I've got every shirt that's ever been released because I want them, you know, and the money goes to charity and all that. So I'm sure as hell going to buy this one. I'll have the full set then, ain't I? But then I thought, oh, and I looked. Zach hadn't posted it. Jim Lee hadn't posted it. Deborah hadn't posted it. No one but certain fans had tweeted the link to the Ink to the People. When you go on Ink to People, it says Ink to the People run by Zack Snyder. So someone is promoting his thing on his behalf a day or two before he's going to do it. And it's like, is that so that only certain people get the shirt ordered in time to wear at the time? And now, 2 days later, when Zach's promoted it, it's now too late because there's going to be a backlog in orders. They're now 2 days less for this 2 weeks till we go for it to be printed and arrive for them to wear. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's not been done. It's not been done fairly. It feels to me like it's been done. Help your friends first, and then the rest of them can have the rest of what's left. Either it's deliberate or unintentional, but it should have always been coming from Zach or Deborah or a cast member at the exact same time, so that anybody in the entire fandom in any country in the world had the same opportunity, if they're able, to click on something and buy it at the exact same time as anybody else and have the same opportunity and availability and warning as anybody else. Because, you know, most of Zach's fans aren't in America. Most people have to travel. So you do need a bit of warning. If you haven't got the money or the flexibility to do so, a lot of people just can't go because it's too short notice. But they've known for months it's coming. But and I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the world, given an extra couple of months to plan ahead, could have gone, I think I can make this. And it would have been like a dream come true to be able to attend the SnyderCon, because it's something they've invested so many years of their life in. It's a passion. Do you know what I mean? So it's I remember going like to the first one. I was so happy and grateful that I was lucky enough to be able to go, because I had the ability to go. But I also knew there was other people that couldn't for whatever reason. And there was one person, I'm not going to say his name, but he said to me he can't afford it, the flights and ticket and that. I said, mate, do you want me to buy the ticket for you so that you can go? And he was too proud to take that, you know. And it was sad because he couldn't make it. He was like, well, I can't make it. It is what it is. And I was like, okay, fine. It's offers there if you want it. Because he really, really, really wanted to go. But then reality was he couldn't afford it. And or other people need time to book off work if they got jobs.
Yeah.
You know, you need a lot of time.
That's a big thing for me too.
They want like a fucking a lot of employers want like a 10-year notice. What, you want to go on holiday?
yeah. No, because I actually have like a schedule and because I actually have like a schedule and clients and all that.
Promising if you want the day off.
Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right that everybody can't just take off work, right? 100%.
No, exactly. You know, it ain't a cheap weekend away. It's not like it's been held in, I don't know, in the hood, is it? It's in fucking Pasadena. You know, it's not your hotel ain't going to be $30 and you might get a prostitute dropped in with it. Do you know what I mean? It's not a seedy little. You're going to be staying in this crappy hotels. It's a couple of $100 a night. You know, it's an expensive thing and people need warning.
Oh, 100%.
But I feel like certain people have had lots of fucking warning and they are going and they've been able to have the cheaper hotels, the cheaper flights, the more time to book off work, you know, and I think that's really unfair. I really do. And it annoys me that, you know, like you get that. Oh, Will's jealous because these people are this, and Will's like, what have I got to be jealous about someone? I don't care. I do what I want in my life, and I'm pretty happy, to be honest with you. You know, I got no reason to be jealous of anybody. I'm just doing what I do, you know. And if I couldn't go, if there was no tickets, that would be the end of it. I was busy anyway, to be fair. But I only tried to get it because I wanted it. That was my thing. I won't change my plans unless I get a ticket. Yeah, and as it happens, I was able, luckily. But I can't do all of them because I really can't change my plans. If I'd have known 4 months ago, I would have been available all weekend. But
Oh,
it is what it
man.
is. Do you know what I mean? So it's
That'd
the
have been
whole
crazy.
full circle thing. So going back to, it's going back to the full circle. The Art Centre of Design, was it called Art Centre College of Design? I can never get it right.
Yeah,
The
Art Center College of Design.
That's the one. ACCD. Yeah. Their like logo is a circle anyway, an orange circle. So the first one was held there, the second one's held there. So it's part of the circle, and I think money raised from the first SnyderCon helped fund the renovation of the theatre, the little cinema they've got there. And when they renovated it, they made it 214 seats. And I think that's a nod to, at the time, the Snyder Cut was 214 that he was kind of hoping to put out if he managed to get it. And that's the full circle that here we are watching it in the room that helped spur on getting it. And that's the full circle. But then you've got to add in the Superman statue with all the hidden things in it. And he's even said everyone's noticed it already. So 5 movies, 3 done, was it 2 down, you know, that kind of thing.
Yep.
It's all in there, isn't it? It's the clues are still there, and the clues are as obviously cryptic or cryptic and obvious as the original clues before, like the Snyder. Remember his fun with the cut, and we went Snyder cut, and that was really a Snyder cut, you know, and he's there. So and like going back to sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, when he was on that stream the other day and he was talking to Dave Pena, and he held the picture out and he showed him, it was that t-shirt design about his 5-arc story, now completed in an image to be shown, and at the same time he showed it wearing a black hoodie or jacket thing with the Netflix.
With Netflix.
It's not stupid. Like, when have you ever seen him wear that jacket? He's worked for Netflix for years now. And nothing he does is by chance, is it? Nothing he does is by chance. He don't draw a picture and go, "Oh fuck me, that looks like I mean something." Everything's detail. He's like he's got OCD with things, and that's kind of his way. And I think that's why his visuals are so, you know, on point. So that there was deliberate. You often see him in that white t-shirt. It's like he's I guess like a loungewear top. You often see him on. But that particular night, he had that on, and you often saw it flash across the screen. So could it be? Is it tinfoil hat? But it just seems to me that. But it's a clue. Like the time is now. You know, get your armor. You know, there is hope. Like all the signs are indicating there that it isn't dead. They haven't moved on, and people want it. David Ayer wants details of his film to come out. I know for a fact. I was talking to him yesterday actually, and I know that I know that he's passionate again about getting it out there that his cut really wants his cut scene. Yeah, his scene. No, the cut scene. That's right. Yeah, it sounded weird when I said that. But I know he still wants people to. It's still hope. You know, he hasn't given up. You know, and that was literally. Oh, I was gonna say, where's my phone? It's fucking there, isn't it? It's literally 24 hours ago was the last time I spoke to him, and yeah, he still wants people to ask for his film. So if he's been told
forget it, it's done now, then why would he? Because again, he is very, very, very respectful. I'm pretty sure
Absolutely.
Warner Brothers said to him, David, I'm sorry, it's never going to happen. I'm really sorry it happened to you. As a previous ex-military man with the discipline and the type of persona he's got, he would begrudgingly, like he did being kept quiet for all those years when they released the cut that wasn't his, he would have played ball and gone along with it. But he's being
Absolutely.
polite professionally. But at the same time, he's also saying, I have a cut. I want it out there. And he's been open about it. So, and one of his best friends has said to me multiple times, all I can say to you is there is hope. And that's why I've tweeted that word so many times, because there is hope. And then you've got to think about, in the Snyderverse, who is hope? Superman. Henry Cavill. Who is, you know, in Man of Steel, for all of Zack's films in the Snyderverse, he represents hope. And the 5-story arc, the Snyderverse, it's all connected. So there is hope. So if there's hope in Zack's stuff being finished, there must be hope in finally the
It's all
original
connected.
version that should. It's all connected, you know. And the clues are out there. But I think if people stop asking for it and thinking, that's never going to happen now, they got Gunn. He's the charge of DC Studios now. If he says no, what can you do? No, because they're back catalogues. It's particularly the Ayer cut. It's filmed. It's done. We're not asking for a new film to be made. Yeah, that's a licensing issue. That can be someone else can make that. Yeah, but it's a Warner Brother picture. That cut that I've seen that he submitted is the property of Warner Brother Pictures, not DC Studios. It didn't exist when it was made. Do you see what I'm saying? So on a legal point, there's nothing stopping Warner Brothers Pictures saying, for the sake of the company, let's release that film under Warner Brothers Pictures, because they can't put DC Studios logo on it, because at the point of being made, it didn't exist. You can't. It's like going back in time and like changing the law. Well, there's a new law now, so we're going to apply it to that crime 100 years ago. It don't work like that. So there is, I think, on a legal basis, it is doable and they can overrule it. But that's just like a company thing. But someone higher up, I think, is going to have to think of the money and go, do you know what? We can't lose. Because if we don't put it out, people are going to go, fuck you, I ain't going to watch that. So you ain't having my money. If we do put it out, people are going to pay to see it. And then they might still pay to see that. And if that does make money, and that one doesn't, well, we just won't bother with this new one. We'll just continue the original one that we started that is making money. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's a no-brainer. And that's why
sounds like a win-win.
The 70 million the 70 million they put in to finish it, they still made that back. You know they have. On HBO Max streaming subscriptions at the time, the DVDs, the Blu-rays, then they added it to the trilogy box set. That made even more money, didn't it? Mate, there's so much money to be had in film. You can re-release a film over and over again, and then
all the merchandising, the toy. Man, there's been toys and all kind of stuff from that movie, yo. 100%.
Yep. Do you remember Netflix used to have the Marvel movies, didn't it? Because they licensed it to Netflix. And then when Disney bought Marvel, they went, no, we're having all our stuff. We're having it back to Disney Plus because we own all of it, don't they, Disney? So it is, again, Marvel Studios licensed Netflix to be able to show their films. So why can't why not now? It is a thing. It is a thing. So anyone who says sell the Snyderverse is not a thing, it's rubbish. Anything could be a thing. It's people agree to it. It's just it's confusing, isn't it? Because it seems so simple, yet we're banging your head against the wall sometimes against people, you know. So yeah. So I don't mean to rabbit on. I honestly, I'm so. my brain is all over the place at the moment. I've got the things I've been doing, remembering this and that, but it's just frustrating. I try my hardest to not get involved anymore. But it's just fucking hell.
Look, I definitely appreciate your time, effort, thoughts, man. Like whatever. This has been so great. Trust me, yo. We understand like why a lot of you guys that have been in this movement and been in these fights since release, right? Why these things can get a bit tight. Yo, you guys have been in the battlegrounds, yo, for years and years and years, and really in the trenches. And so, at this point, I do think that it is important for us that have kind of like been in the background to kind of keep propping this thing up, because we understand that a lot of you guys, this has been, and ever since I've kind of come into more prominence, it's been taxing on me. So I know that you guys that have been in this thing for all these years, it just has to have been incredibly frustrating, tiring, draining, like all these things. And so I do appreciate you taking the time to come and speak with me, for real.
No worries, man. I appreciate wanting me on, but I think going back to what you say, I never wanted, from day when it started, I liked being part of doing this, because it was like people from anywhere around the world, race, religion, and all that stuff. We all had this one thing that we all wanted at the same time, and it was nice. And then all the other shit crept in, and I don't care if people don't like me. I really don't give a shit, to be honest with you. But I really, really struggle to not say, "Oi, that's out of order." Don't be horrible to that person. I think it's like, and I don't want to be arguing with people. I would rather you guys just take over and do it. But I go online and I try and use Twitter for like other things and that, and then you see it and you're like, that's wrong. That's not fair, because that person, I know that person did that, and that person deserves, not to be talked about like that. And then I kind of say something, and then I open the can of worms again, where everyone's whoa, and it's like I'm not actually a horrible person. Like I will stick up for anyone. Like the people who I don't
For
like,
sure.
I would stick up for if someone was wrong to them. Yeah, I don't. It's not like, at the end of the day, we're all people, and we should all be treated right. And anyone who's been mistreated because you disagree with something, that's fucking stupid, isn't it? Years ago at school, you're taught if you don't like each other, don't talk to each other. But you certainly aren't allowed to go around and bully each other. It's just not societal. It's not common decency, But if you then go out of your, and I know people are going to say it's hypocritical me saying this because I mention a certain group of people, because it's often them people who are encouraging others to go after others, and I know, having been there and seen that and been in the private chats and things and stuff, that hang on a minute, Mr. Angel, what about that? Like, come on, like, if you're gonna make that, then I feel duty bound to point out that you did that, and that's really not in the spirit of mental health awareness, is it? And it's not the spirit of suicide prevention if people are made to feel less than other people. There was I wasn't gonna mention it because obviously the Ayer account and the admin situation that flared up a bit recently, but the removal of admin, should we say? You must have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A person on there, I had admins because I can't do it all myself. I, like I said, created that account so that it was like to protect the Ayer community, to just all crap gone, just anyone can focus again, like the early days of Snyder stuff.
Yeah.
But certain people started to get too emotionally attached to things, and in a very private way, I reined it all in and said, you need time out. And then as months have gone on, a person was like, I want to tell people I was
this and I was that and I want to do this, and it reached a head where someone messaged me and said, oh, just so you know, this person's tweeted this about their account, and then I had to use the account to say, this is what actually happened. I didn't want to do it because that person is a good guy. He is a good guy and he means well, but I know him. I know how he thinks and how he gets himself emotionally involved with some things, and he does need to calm down a bit sometimes and focus, and he needs guidance a little bit to mature and do certain things. But I think sometimes, like, you know, the line in Batman and Superman, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts.
Power corrupts, absolutely.
I think a little bit of importance, a little bit of, and the need for recognition on it. It's like people who are starstruck. Famous people don't like people who are starstruck to them. It's awkward. It's embarrassing. They prefer you to treat them like normal people, and it makes them more comfortable, right? Same with anybody, doesn't it? And I didn't want to do it publicly, so I'm not going to say the name and all that because I don't want to draw attention to anyone. And like, I've noticed I've not said names in this today. I've just said certain people or this person or that person. But I had to recently use the account briefly for a couple of days to stomp out the lies and revert it back to, come on, this is about everyone for a film, you know, and that's the important thing. And you know, it's sad to see that it happened, but I put it off for a very long time because a lot of people complained. And he is a nice guy. It's sad to see, but and other people now I've noticed that there are people now circling this person, egging them on to really. People like to in this fandom, they like to whoosh and rile people up. So when don't get me wrong, this person, it wasn't originally a permanent thing. I wanted him to walk away, to chill, deal with his personal issues, relax, take a breather, come down and come back, have a holiday, come back in fresh, because it was taking over his life, like in terms of his focus on what was important was.
I definitely saw some of the problematic tweets.
On a fan.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw some of those problematic tweets.
And I defended him a long time.
Yeah.
But there was a tweet on a very important day that was, come on, mate, like, you need time out, like, you know. And I didn't do it publicly. I told him he just needs time out, and just relax and focus on you, because at the end of the day, if a film comes out, it's not the end of the world if it's making you not well and it's stressing you out. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying? And he is a good guy, and if he's watching this, he knows that I know he's a good guy, and he knows that I have stuck up for him a lot, and I've spoke to him lots of times, and we spoke about how he feels about certain people or how he feels about passion for something, and I've told him, look, why don't we just do it like calm, remove emotion, let's just reset. And it's, oh yeah, you're right, yeah, let's do it. And I'm just trying to guide like someone who's younger than me, and he, you know, it's not my place to talk about someone's personal problems if you know about it, but he means 1,000,000% well. I know he does, and he is a nice guy. So I don't want people to give him a hard time, but he does things wrong, in the wrong way, and it comes across wrong, and it makes people attack and criticize and stuff. And some people can't take that, like abuse, you know. And so I can. I don't care. Some people can't, and I can't. Again, like I said, it's my duty to say, "Oi, leave that person alone." And then I'm the one that's toxic because I'm now telling someone, "Oi, leave them alone."
Yeah.
You can't fucking win. You cannot win, right? There's people who don't like you. You don't like them. You do your thing, they do their thing. That's it. Who gives a shit? Why does someone care that you come up with sell the Snyderverse to Netflix? Why does it matter? Why does it affect them? They want to see the Snyder films, yes or no? Great. In whatever way you can get it, that's all people should care about, isn't it? And I hate one more thing. Sorry, I know you want to go. But
Oh
you've got me on a
no!
rant now.
Go ahead. Go ahead and cook.
I
Let
cannot.
him cook.
I cannot stand. I cannot stand the enjoy the movie you've got. Okay, that's a given, but you're telling everybody that that's enough. Why? Is it because you got what you wanted and you forget about what's originally wanted? Is it because now you are in a fan club? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, no, yeah, let's enjoy the films we've got because we're fucking lucky and we should celebrate that we won and got the Snyder Cut. But come on, that has never been done in all of Hollywood history, as well as raising all this money for charity. Do you know what I mean? As beating one of the biggest studios in the world into submission to releasing a film they said didn't exist. Yeah, that's fucking mental. And yes, so the full circle is a celebration of it, but the job ain't done. We know there's 2 more fucking films, or 1 if you make one big long one, but there's still the story left, isn't there? There's still the Ayer cut. There's still unfinished business, and meanwhile, while that studio is still trying to twist and manipulate and going, well, it doesn't matter, it's not important. We're going to release these. I mean, if James Gunn I'm going off on one. If James Gunn's starting again, why are they bothering with the Flash and this Blue Beetle? Who asked for the Blue Beetle?
They might as well should have just wrote him off, right? They should have just wrote him off if that was the case.
So,
if it really wasn't going to matter.
Exactly. So it's craziness. I think everyone needs to relax. Everyone needs to, like, I don't like people. Great. Don't care. I like you. I like other people. You know, everyone don't have to agree on absolutely everything. My best friends and we argue about Ukraine war a lot. Like, I got a friend who hates Putin so much that he'll close his eyes to any corruption in Ukraine. And I'm like, and I just go, yeah, okay, but it is wrong. But also, is it wrong that they did that? Like, maybe we should not listen to the media. But we're still friends. You don't have to hate each other for having a difference of opinion. You know? But you should always be respectful and treat people nicely. So what I'm trying to say is, and one thing I'm going to leak on here, actually, is that I done a test of sorts, and if it had worked well, I would have just gone with it. But I knew it wouldn't, and it proved me right. I reached out to a certain group of people and said, why don't, for the sake of it, olive branch, everybody start afresh, yeah, and chat and just like agree to disagree, and then move on, and then we can focus on sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, release the Ayer cut. They read it, didn't reply, and it's been a month or 2 now. And that tells me again, they don't give a fuck because they got what they wanted. Enjoy the film you got because they got what they wanted. And it's like, come on, I was prepared to go, all right, I've said everything I've said. Everybody knows what happens. I don't like you, you don't like me, but let's, for the sake of everything, refocus what everybody achieved to get it out and get the next one. Sell the Snyderverse, or get the films finished, whatever, and Ayer cut. And they ignored it because it doesn't benefit them. So it's proved right again, isn't it? It's proved right. It's sad. How is that? How is that us united? Isn't it? How is it us united?
That's crazy. I'm not shocked. No, I'm not shocked at all, Will. Right? And I'm not shocked that you did that, right? Because throughout this entire process, and that's one of the main reasons why I have continued to rock with you so much, is that, you've been a very measured person in the way that you've responded to things, and the way that you've responded to situations. And I've always been able to respect that because you've never just jumped out the window and just ran with whatever. You've always been willing to have those actual conversations and talk about things. And that is one thing that I feel is very sorely missing in spades throughout certain parts of this community. And so, yeah, I'm not shocked that you did that, but
In the
I'm also
world.
not shocked that you got that response to, or no response.
Yeah, I knew it. I thought I'd get a reply. But not anymore. I thought the reply would be "fuck off." In which case, at least I can say in my own conscience, well, I tried. Because I never wanted it to be. Originally, when everything started years and years ago, when it all started to go mental, I tried to act as the middleman. And then I kept getting it reached to the point where I said, stop telling me who to dislike. And that was like, but even so, it's just bonkers. I mean, the important thing, like in life, not just the fandom, is that you've got to have integrity. This accountability and entertainment, artistic integrity, all those words we all use, that goes throughout life. That's in every aspect of your life. It's got to be the same morals, hasn't it? It's got to be the same kind of standards as best you can. We all fuck up. We all do or say something wrong. We sometimes get wrong. And if you are wrong, you got to go, all right, I was wrong on that bit. Sorry. And be prepared to it. Or realise that you're getting nowhere and just, okay, let's just refocus. But I really, really have this thing where you can't keep abusing people's good nature for your own benefit. And that's why it fucks me off with the ticket thing, the shirt thing, the full circle thing, because it's still not fair. And I don't know why it bugs me so much. Maybe I should be called Injustice Man or something, because it annoys me. It's always been that. It's why when I was younger, I gave up on acting and become a police officer because I wanted to help people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I thought later on in life, actually, I'm going to go back to the acting because I've done that now, and I can retire and get my pension and done my service and that, and now I can go back to this, do what I want to do. But in order for me to do this, I still kind of have to. I want to be able to help people if I can. If I get something wrong, I will. I've always said this in any podcast. I will say sorry and put my hands up. And I will never say anything that's not true or I can't back up. Yeah, I don't want to show their message that I sent that was ignored because I shouldn't have to, but it's the truth. And if I'm told, oh, he lied, that didn't happen, I will fucking prove it. And that's why I was villainized, because they know I will back up what I say and go, all right then, there it is. There's the evidence. That's what happened. I'm not just going to make stuff up. It's like, but where's the accountability and entertainment for Ray Fisher right now? The Flash. There's loads of things, mate. And it's really sad. But so what I would say to you, you get a lot of shit for the sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, right? Why? Even if you're wrong, even if it will never happen, even if it can't legally happen, the idea is there. And it's about the idea that you've got to try something or you're not going to get it. And we all tried all these things and we got it. So what is wrong with you going, I know, you're coming out of a solution. They've hit a roadblock. No, we don't want to release that. We're going to do it with James Gunn. Okay, a solution. You've come up with an alternative. That's a good quality to have in any way of life. If you're at work and the company's not doing well, then you need to come up with another way, don't you? Another angle. So that's what you've done by doing this now, the Snyderverse thing. So whether people think it's a good thing or not, in terms of the outcome, the fact that you've had the idea, you're offering solutions. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think, well done you for coming up with that, and for you guys who are doing all that, for keep doing it and ignoring people. Because
Why would anyone watching this, whether you like me, dislikes yourself and other people, ask the question: if somebody wants you to stop doing something, why?
Why? 100%. Why?
And if the answer, and let the answer be what your conscience really knows, because there's an alternative, isn't it? You know, if someone's punching me in the face, I'm going to go, I want them to stop doing that, aren't I? Because it benefits me. So if I'm telling you to stop doing something, it's to benefit me. And that works the other way. If someone's telling me to stop something, it's to benefit them. What harm does it do? If anything, hashtag sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, hashtag sell the Snyderverse to Mars. It don't fucking matter. You're having it there. It's a thorn in the foot. It's a thorn in the foot of the studio, isn't it? It's a thorn in the foot of every press conference they have for a film. Every time they do an article or a tweet about a new film they want to come up, this DC Studios, it's there. It's a splinter. It's never going away because people are asking questions and offering solutions. You know, it's not like people are going, no, we don't want you. We only want this. Some people might personally only want to see that, but they'd also happily leave you alone if you did your own thing. So don't be put off. No one should ever be put off of doing something unless they can someone can tell you, don't do that because, and it's a reason that affects everybody and not themselves. Because you saying sell the Snyderverse is distracting from the clout and attention of something that someone else is doing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It should
That's
matter.
exactly what I think is happening.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, and people need to see through that. Get past personalities. It's if you actually want a film out, if it truly is about the Snyderverse and hoping for Zack to finish what he started, and as a customer getting to finishing something you invested your time in, it shouldn't matter who's asking for it or how. The fact is they are, and the more people that ask, the figures go up through the roof, and that's demand. Sorry, I don't mean to rant.
Nah, look, Will, you've been killing it this whole time, yo. This has been like a fantastic interview, man. Like, thank you so much, bro, for your thoughts, your time, man, for you dropping some bombs, like everything, yo. It was all needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I am glad that you stayed on this long because you didn't really plan to. So I appreciate it, man, for sure. I can't wait for you to get out here.
Hours ago, but
right? Huh? Oh no, I can't wait for you to get out here, man. Hopefully we get to link up, yo. That'll be monumental. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure the streets will love that.
Yeah,
for real.
We'll have to have a massive group photo of everybody. That's what needs, because at the end of the day, like, everything that's happened has been because of people. Like when people was when we was campaigning and people were giving donations, some people would say, "Oh, can only afford $5." Well, that's brilliant. It's a donation. It's as important as Hamad, who was like that, you know, because he could. You know?
Right?
It's as important, and even Hamad knows that. You know, he, unlike buying himself into the fandom. Well, bless him, lovely man.
Right.
But no, can't wait to meet you in person, mate, and lots of other people. And if message for people who are watching, if you are going to SnyderCon 2, and even if you don't like me, say hello. I don't mind. I'll happily talk to anybody. Like, we're all supposed to be caring about one thing, so, well, at the very least, speak to me and decide for yourself whether or not I'm as bad as they say.
Right. And speak to the big bad wolf, y'all. Speak to the big bad wolf, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. Look, this has been dope, yo. This is the return of OG
Take care,
Talk,
mate. I'm gonna go.
Absolutely. We're gonna get at y'all next time. Thank you so much for stopping through, Will. This has been super dope.
No worries, mate. Take care. See you
All
later,
right,
mate.
y'all.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye bye.